this morning out of southwest Albuquerque, where a woman has died in a fire. Well, according to Bernalillo County firefighters, they got a call about a fire at a home at Patton Southwest around 3 a.m. Now, when crews got there, the home was fully engulfed and the woman was trapped inside. The woman ended up dying, but it's not clear how she died. Well, and also new this morning, the orange waste spilled by a Colorado mine is floating its way into New Mexico in the Animas River. The EPA is apologizing, admitting it made a big mistake at that time, which caused the environmental mess. The orange sludge has still not reached Aztec or Farmington, but it has crossed into the state. The EPA says the muck contains heavy metals, including lead and arsenic, but it doesn't know the potential health risks yet. Now, an EPA crew caused the 1 million gallons of wastewater to spill from the mine area Wednesday when they damaged a rock dam. Residents here in New Mexico are upset. They say the spill never should have happened.
This is something that could have been prevented. And it just makes me angry when I think about the short-term effects right now and the long-term effects. I'm shaking. I'm so angry about it.
The EPA says it has no way to get the orange sludge out of the river. Officials say it will eventually break up. However, it's not clear how long that will take to happen. A prisoner who walked away from work detail is back behind bars this morning. Police say 59-year-old Raymond Ramirez was on landscaping detail on Cerrillos Road in Santa Fe Friday afternoon. Now, in this picture, you can see Ramirez walking off and making his escape. He changed clothes before taking off. Santa Fe police stopped cars and went door to door in the area looking for him. Ramirez was not considered dangerous. He was serving time at the state pen for burglary and larceny. Police found him around 8 last night in a nearby neighborhood. In a separate incident, a probation officer searching for Ramirez with his gun drawn accidentally shot himself in the calf. Well, there's now a big new clue and a big reward in the search for a person of interest in 2 church bombings in Las Cruces. The FBI released this video yesterday. They hope the person you see here walking through the Calvary Baptist Church parking lot Sunday morning with some sort of package in his hand may have info about the bombings at the Baptist Church and Holy Cross Catholic Church. Now, no one was hurt in the blast. However, Governor Susana Martinez had strong words for the bomber.
New Mexicans are strong, and we are not going to let these cowards keep us from living our lives.
The FBI is offering a $20,000 reward for information leading to an arrest. We've posted the full video on our KRQE app. Well, the fate of 2 Albuquerque officers facing charges for killing James Boyd is yet to be decided. A judge heard testimony all week, but attorneys for Officer Dominic Perez and retired Detective Keith Sandy still have a lot of witnesses to call. Now, it'll be up to a judge to decide whether the 2 will go to trial for second-degree murder or lesser charges. Friday in court, the special prosecutor tried to discredit a witness, calling his testimony hogwash. The state argues several witnesses so far are also biased on the side of police.
So you do have a bias in favor of police officers?
We certainly, yes, perform our work primarily for the benefit of police.
The defense worked to convince a judge that the officers just did what they were trained to do when they shot and killed James Boyd after a 3-hour standoff in the foothills last year.
Another officer's life is in immediate jeopardy. If you don't act, they're going to die.
The defense still has a lot more witnesses to call, so court isn't over yet. The preliminary hearing will resume Monday, August 17th at 8:30 a.m. and is slotted for at least 2 more days after that. Well, it was a dangerous situation. Albuquerque police searched their suspect and took him into custody, but they missed something very important. He still had a loaded gun with him. News 13's Lizane Mitri talked to APD, who explained how it happened.
This is a major issue.
This guy had a weapon on him and it was missed.
Albuquerque police took Jacob Piggott to jail Wednesday with a loaded gun tucked in his waistband.
Coming into the facility with the loaded firearm is very alarming.
Bernalillo County Jail Captain Ray Gonzalez says a body scanner like this one revealed a .45 caliber pistol like this.
Put everybody in danger that night. Put everybody who was around him in danger.
Police first approached Piggott at Minalling University, where they say he was the passenger in a stolen car.
The criminal complaint says when police searched Piggott here at this Circle K parking lot, they found a baggie of meth in his pocket, but there's no mention of a gun.
This was concealed enough in his waistband by his private area that we missed it. I mean, no offense or buts about it. But
back in December, police said this woman also hid a gun from them, that time in her genital area, they said, before she dumped it in a trash can at the jail. Police say after that, the department got a memo, a refresher on proper search techniques.
at that time, training went out. We spoke about it.
In this case, APD says 3 officers dealt with Piggott from the time he was arrested to the time he was questioned at APD headquarters to him being taken to the jail, all the while with a loaded gun none of the officers knew about. When APD did find out, the department says it took action.
The 3 officers, the next day immediately was brought to our attention. That was taken care of that day, disciplined and trained.
Liz Mitri, KRQE News 13.
Police wouldn't say how the 3 officers were disciplined. They say Piggott now faces a felony charge for bringing contraband into a jail on top of his felony charges for a stolen car and drugs. A pair of vandals hit several businesses on Montgomery, causing thousands of dollars in damage. One of the businesses hit is Noble Comics. The vandals etched images into the windows of the store. You can't see much from this surveillance video, but the hope is someone saw something. The one clue: they are likely not teens.
It is a little bit of a surprise. We actually discovered that they're not juveniles, so they are actually older. So that's something that we're a little bit shocked about. We're not sure if they're possibly irate customers or if it's possibly some sort of maybe initiation.
Besides Noble, they also hit Hastings and other small businesses. Nobody broke into any of the stores. They just tagged the windows. They caused around $3,000 in damage. Well, 27-year-old James Holmes, who opened fire in a Colorado movie theater, killing 12 people, will spend the rest of his life in prison. Yesterday, after meeting for more than 6 hours, the jury could not reach a unanimous decision on the death penalty. The same jurors rejected Holmes's insanity defense and convicted him of murdering 12 people and trying to kill 70 others 3 years ago at a movie theater in Arroyo. Well, tomorrow marks 1 year since the deadly shooting of Michael Brown by former Ferguson police officer Darren Wilson. Brown's death sparked violent protests in Ferguson, exposed questionable policing practices by the police department, and forced discussions about race relations across the U.S. Now, a grand jury decided not to bring charges against Wilson, and a Department of Justice report concluded he did not violate federal civil rights laws. Well, it's orange sludge containing heavy metals like lead and arsenic is making its way into New Mexico this morning in the Animas River. The EPA is apologizing, admitting it made a big mistake at the mine in Colorado that caused the mess. News 13's Candace Hopkins reports.
The EPA did say that local officials were right to close the Animas River to human activities and livestock. The giant plume is still visible in Durango, and the main portion is heading right toward Aztec and this area here in Farmington. You can see the sludge residue sticking to the floor of the Animas. An EPA crew caused the 1 million gallons of wastewater to spill from the mine area Wednesday when they damaged a rock dam. The EPA says they take full responsibility for the disaster, but residents here say it never should have happened at all, and they're greatly concerned about what is going to happen to the wildlife here.
This is something that could have been prevented. And it just makes me angry when I think about the short-term effects right now and the long-term effects. I'm shaking. I'm so angry about it.
I'm looking at the river and it's beautiful, but what about our animals? What about the wildlife?
There is no timetable to open up the drinking water intakes along the river for cities that use it as a water source. And the EPA says there will be long-term effects from this spill, but they aren't sure what those effects will be just yet. Candace Hopkins, KRQE News 13.
City water systems in San Juan County have not been affected, but anyone with well water located in the river floodplain should not be using their well water. We now know more about the man who investigators say fired shots at federal agents. Police say Charles Turnbow is accused of opening fire outside the new Social Security building near 5th and Cole early Thursday morning. According to court documents, 2 officers heard a noise in the parking lot. That's when Turnbow fired at them but missed. He was later arrested. Turnbow does have a criminal history. He's been arrested for everything from criminal damage to drugs and forgery. The fate of the 2 youngest teens charged in the murder of an Albuquerque bartender still remains unclear. Matthew Baldonado and Enrique Palomino, both 14 years old, are charged as juveniles in the killing of Stephen Garrick. Police say Garrick confronted their group in the middle of the night when they were breaking into cars and homes. Yesterday, Baldonado's father pleaded with the judge for leniency, saying his son just got caught up with the wrong crowd.
My condolence, but my son is not an animal. I mean, I try to do the best as a parent to raise my son and do the best I could. My son is not an animal.
The judge granted Baldonado an interview with the community custody program and lowered his bond to $75,000 cash only. Palomino's bond remains unchanged at $250,000. And that shooting has prompted a call for a teen curfew. But Thursday night at the APS board meeting, members said they don't want one. They say a teen curfew doesn't address the problems. Now, some kids sounded off, voicing concerns about those who have late night jobs. The proposed city curfew is similar to one in the 1990s that prohibited anyone under 17 from being out after 11 p.m. on weeknights or midnight on weekdays. Police have released the name of the Roswell officer shot during a drug investigation last week. Roswell police say Officer Bart Devos was shot in the abdomen through his bulletproof vest during a shootout with a man in the Taco Bell parking lot. The suspect, Jeremy Hatch, was killed. The other 2 men, Joseph Ray Mendiola and Francisco Aguilar, were arrested. The shooting happened as members of a drug task force approached the group to ask them some questions. They say one of the suspects immediately fired at officers, and that's when police fired back. The officer shot is expected to be okay. Well, it's not how you want to welcome people to your neighborhood.
This car came veering through here and rolled a couple times and took out the sign.
A driver smashed into the University Heights sign more than a month ago. A neighbor took a picture of the rubble and reported it to the city, but nothing had been done about it until we started asking the mayor's office questions yesterday.
Unfortunately, this specific sign, although it's important to those that live around it, maybe doesn't make that cut when it comes to public safety.
The city says although they bought and installed the sign, it's up to the neighborhood association to fix it. The neighborhood association says that's nonsense, though, because the sign is on city property. Since nothing had been done about it, the city says it will put up a new sign in the next couple of months. Well, this morning, a typhoon is heading toward China after barreling through Taiwan. Last night, Typhoon Sodalor slammed Taiwan, killing at least 3 people and leaving more than 2 million households without power. The storm dumped more than 50 inches of rain, ripped up trees, and tore down billboards with winds topping about 120 miles per hour. Earlier this week, the storm intensified into a super typhoon, making it the strongest on the planet. Well, you don't think of lightning as being romantic, but that's exactly what it was for a teen couple. Dylan and Lexi were walking along a road in California when doctors believe the 2 were hit by lightning. The teens say the strike felt like they were hit by metal, and because it happened so fast, it wasn't clear what struck them until someone rushed to help them and told them what had occurred. Doctors say the teens may have survived the strike because they were holding hands.
And these 2 were lucky that they were holding hands. It helped to diffuse that electrical current that ran through their bodies.
Doctors believe the bolt hit Dylan's head and traveled through his hands to Lexi, then exited through her foot. The chance of getting hit by lightning is extremely rare. About 1 in a million die from strikes every year.